Hello Rockbags, it's Jade. Welcome to another Immortals Phoenix Rising video. I showcased the very first gameplay on the channel as part of the Ubi Forward conference. I was given some exclusive access along with some other creators of a build in development. So go and check out that video for impressions and walkthrough of a kind of flavour of lots of things you can expect. Today we're going to be focusing more on the puzzles though, and the puzzle elements, the dungeons, these vaults, and seeing what they have to offer to give you and show you the kind of differences you can do. I was really impressed with how different they are. At first I was a bit worried that it'd just be a case of putting a box on a lever, that kind of thing, but it does expand, it does open out quite a bit. So let's go through all that stuff. Make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe for the best in open world and survival games, news, info. Let's delve deep into the vaults and puzzles of Immortals Phoenix Rising. So I have shown this one off in the previous video, so I'm not going to go over it too much, but simply put, it is the typical put a box on a pressure plate, and using the special abilities, which is something I want to talk about as well. You've got this ability where you can literally just pick up balls and boxes and you can put them towards you, like it just gravitates towards you using your special lassos, or do it the traditional good old fashioned way of pushing and pulling the box. Simple, pretty basic stuff. This is what I was worried about for the rest of the game. I'm sure there will be lots of other little quests like this, lots of other little puzzles, but the difficulty of them really ramps up. It's quite devious. In fact, some of the late ones, I spent a good 25 minutes on one puzzle. That I really like. I think it's a welcome break from all the combat and stuff like that, and I hope that everyone else kind of likes that as well and they don't get too frustrated with it. There is, I think, going to be a story mode based version of the difficulty, so maybe that will help people with the difficulty. Maybe there'll be some pointers that click on if they need that additional help. But yeah, it was interesting, it was fun to do. And then just typical sort of platforming stuff that you come to expect. So the bow and arrow is a crucial aspect of the game, and particularly the one where you can literally fire your arrow and do slow-mo. Again, these are pretty challenging. There's going to be another one I'll show you later where you have to be really pretty accurate and holding it down long enough. You can slow down on time, you can speed it up if you're really accurate and you know exactly where you're hitting it, and you get the idea. Hit these little panels, open up doorways. So your reward for completing these vaults particularly are stamina boosts, and stamina is such an important part of the game. It's going to allow you to hover and glide more with your wings. It'll allow you to climb and also go at speed on your horse or your mount, and obviously you're going to need it for combat defensive as well. It looks like a lot of these vaults will be part of story missions, side quests, or part of the main progress, so that obviously you're building up your stamina and you're getting ahead to go and face on Typhoon, the great big bad boss. So we're on to the next one. Again, I showed this off, so I'll just be pretty brief, but picking up chunks of charcoal or coal, pop them in the right furnace, and this is like a big part of this biome, is getting these furnaces back up and running before taking on the boss, using that ability again to place them exactly inside the little grill here. And then the good old fashioned flaming arrow once you've got proper decent aim, unlike my potato aim. But yeah, you see the idea. Going through, slow it down, speed it up a little bit more once you're confident where you're aiming, and you're going to get these up and running. Now even these are obviously not big giant puzzles, this is part of the story, so it's going to be nice to break up the action. You normally find a bunch of enemies in and around. This is a slight variation where you've got to break open the sort of red pink crystal, I can't remember what that stuff was to be honest. That covers over some stuff, and then the same thing again, put the flame through it and try and aim at your little bowl of charcoal. Now even with something so simple, there are still multiple ways to do this. Instead of actually trying to aim for it like this, I've got it on fire. I didn't actually put it deep enough inside the furnace, and so now I've got a flaming piece of charcoal that I guess I could have set alight anywhere and then moved the flaming charcoal afterwards like I'm about to do. So I like that. Again, even in the confines of completing a puzzle the way it's meant to, you've still got a couple different ways you can do it and activate the next part. Reward in this instance, a chest full of potions and some resources and a brand new weapon. So you're going to get rewarded each and every time you do one of these. Now this one I found really difficult at the very start. The demoist that took me through it had to explain it eventually after like my third time of trying it. But pretty much activate the pressure plate and then it's a race against time for you to get to the end of the course. Seems simple enough. The gliding is going to take a little bit of getting used to. Definitely like the trajectory and how far you can actually go. You really can't do a sort of downward dive and then get extra air to come back up. It will just mean that you're going to go down much quicker and you won't be able to get back up. So using these air vents the right way is definitely going to be a bit of mastering. But once you do, I reckon there'll be some players out there that will never touch the ground. In combination with this kind of stuff, as well as using their horse, they will just never really be on foot unless they're only in combat for certain things. But you get the idea. Whizzing around these air vents, getting them to take you as high as you can if you need it, and avoiding these purple lasers. And so like the fourth time lucky, I finally did it and we managed to get to the end and activate the golden little shimmer there and get some access to some more loot. I like the effects as well, it's just a nice little touch after doing that. I've got some lords or coins of Sharon I should say, and these are what you're going to upgrade your abilities with. So seeking out which missions are which is going to be really important to guide you through what you want to upgrade the most, or whether or not you just need some resources. I like the fact the map does communicate this stuff to you as well, but it does look like you might have to get a vantage point, just like you do in Assassin's Creed, to open up the map a little bit and show you what you've got around, or maybe it's going to be ability that you can upgrade too. This next one is one of them puzzle scratchers that left me, a little bit shivering in fear if I had to do another one. So it took me about 25 minutes, maybe longer, to do this next one. Once you took out all the enemies, and they're normally guarded by enemies, so you've always got a bit of combat. We just got to simply put the blue spheres inside the little holes here. Simple enough, and they're dotted around all inside these little rooms. You just got to find a way to break through them. So this one's pretty basic enough. Break through the red sort of marble glass stuff that's holding it, and then just use your special powers to pretty much lift the sphere and pop it onto the pedestal. That's what you're meant to do. I decided to try and just put it straight into the slots here, but you are going to need these spheres to actually gain access to more spheres, and that's spheres. Now I've played a few puzzle games recently. I went back and did a few hours of The Witness, and I remember how puzzling that was and how difficult it was. And you don't want them to be too frustrating, especially in a game that's obviously clearly marketed towards a bit of combat and exploration and RPG-ness. But yeah, it's definitely something welcome. It does make you think a little bit, and whether or not the reward's going to be worth it, what do you really need, and if you enjoy doing this kind of thing, then yeah, it's going to be well up your street. The red doors barriers are blocking the way, so we've got to use the spears to pretty much drop them on pedestals and keep reusing them. Sometimes you'll be using 2 spheres to gain access to a third one that's hidden away. You're going to have to change angles, you're going to have to do a bit of parkour in between and make sure you're doing it the right way. And then yeah, it was just a real nice challenge, and again it really opened it up and made it a bit more difficult than I was expecting. So pretty much anywhere you see some purple lasers, you know there's a puzzle nearby, or it's going to be some sort of challenge, and you've got to maybe use the balls, I'll call them the balls from now on, to get through that little section, that little opening. Again, once you've completed these, the reward is them coins. That's going to mean you're going to be able to upgrade and get more abilities. So bow and arrow is a crucial part, as I said, and you're going to definitely be doing this kind of thing, going through little circles with the slow arrow, trying to guide it all the way through and activate it in one nice long arc. This can be a real challenge as well if you're not fully prepared from the very beginning, so just making sure you've got that slow speed on, and definitely you're going to have to speed it up occasionally. But yeah, I like this. I like the idea that, you know, you've got to think a little bit unilaterally, look around the environment, plan out exactly where your arrow may have to go, and just generally hope that you do make it to the end so you don't have to keep restarting. Some of these are surprisingly long though. Again, something you think would be pretty quick and simple does take a bit of extra time. So yeah, another nice little challenge and more coins for us to earn. It did get to a point in the demo where I just really wanted to explore as much as possible, come across as many creatures. So when it came to this puzzle, I was like, nah. Hell nah, I haven't got the time, but it does look even more interesting, these statues and the possibilities, what you're going to be doing to it to get through to whatever it is you're going to earn in this one. Also worth pointing out, you can definitely overthink stuff and you could over exaggerate like how easy or hard it is to get through some of these. With these purple lasers, they do a fair amount of damage, but you can pretty much mitigate it just by running through. It's not going to kill you completely. Maybe on the higher difficulties it might be doing a lot more damage. So yeah, there are ways to get around rather than just relying on the puzzle pieces again. Just pushing this through, I managed to get through and it wasn't the end of the world. I still had plenty of health. So probably not the way to do it, but I did it my way. For sure, the biggest takeaway was that your time will be rewarded. There's nothing worse than doing a big, long, complicated puzzle or something that you maybe want to just bypass because you like the combat more and not get rewarded for that time. And I think it does that pretty well. In this instance, we got like a legendary crate and it opened up and got me some brand new gear. And I'm sure there's going to be people that are desperately looking for that really super special gear, which I'm guessing is randomly generated. The final one I want to show you, which I managed just about to squeeze in just before my time was finished, was going over to this little island. And that's another thing that you have to manage. Maybe not part of this video per se, but your stamina does run out. And if it runs out while you're flying over water, swimming takes up your stamina as well. So it kind of limits where you can go to certain islands just off the main coast. And I like that idea. It means you're going to have to kind of gate you a little bit, but you're going to have to think about whether or not you'll be able to make it, whether or not you've got enough stamina potions, etc. Once I've taken out the bad guys in this one, and again it was pretty challenging, this next vault really surprised me, and it's probably the best one actually. It is a giant massive pinball machine. In fact, 2 of them, and I quite like this. This was interesting. I like the idea, and apparently there's going to be even more. It's not just a case of, like I said, move them boxes. There's going to be a whole host of different types of these vaults with different activities in it, and that's great. That's what you need to keep it fresh, to keep it feeling one note. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Pull lever and just see how far you can get. See what kind of points you can gather. Well, no, it's not that kind of pinball. You are still going to pretty much just be aiming your boulder to the little slot that's hiding behind all of these boxes. There was no rush though, there was no timer, and I don't think many of them have timers, or maybe there are some that have a time element to it. It was just nice to be able to take this at my own speed and not have to worry that I've got to complete it in a certain amount of time or have to restart it until pretty much I could become a dab hand at being a pinball wizard. By the time I moved on to the larger one, I did start getting a little bit annoyed though, like with the bumpers just didn't seem to be as reactive with the boulder, or sometimes it just wasn't going where I wanted it to. I guess that's just a bit of practice. It's a small little thing, but yeah, it'd be nice if they were just a little bit more responsive. Overall, massively impressed with these. I really hope there's even more choice than I've already seen, and judging by what the demo has said, there is indeed more as well that I didn't get a chance to try. The vaults are varied, there will be different challenges in lots of them, and that's going to keep this game really fresh. And I really like the setting as well. I think the art and the graphics is just gorgeous in these zones as well. Really nice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to challenging myself with these. I will do guides for every single dungeon, every single challenge when the game is fully out in the near future. My name is Jade. Hope you've enjoyed this little run through the puzzles and the vaults so far of Immortals Fenyx Rising. I will see you rat bags for another video very soon. We'll hopefully be taking a look at the combat and the enemies in the game.